Hi, you guys. Welcome back to Authentic Talks. I'm really excited today because we're basically talking all about healthy living, you guys. I'm holding in my hand right now a book that was sent to me by an author who has written 7 books. She is a health and wellness life coach, and she's all about helping people to understand that food determines our mood. She's all about helping us to understand that what we put in our bodies makes a difference in how our bodies perform. She's also created a quiz, several quizzes, you guys, that help you to determine if you're gluten sensitivity, if you have celiac disease, and so on. You guys, it goes on. The list goes on. So, you guys, are you ready? You might want to grab a pen and a piece of paper because today's guest, she does leave us with some gems, and it's really important for us to understand our bodies are so important. We only have one of them. So it's really important for us to understand what makes each of our bodies work to its fullest potential so that we can have longevity and health and wellness. So you guys, without further ado, let me go ahead and introduce today's guest. This week's guest has a master's degree in health and science and an MBA. She lives her life with passion to help others improve their health. After suffering a health crisis, she became an author and a health coach to provide others like myself and you with tools that we need to help us to heal our bodies and reclaim our ideal weight. You guys, I'm really excited to talk with today's guest because she's also the author of Healthy Living series, and the 3rd book in this series is #1 on Amazon. It is a bestseller, and it's called 7 Steps to Get Off Sugar and Carbohydrates. I'm really excited, you guys. She has an amazing story that she shares, and she also knows her stuff. She knows what she's talking about, and I absolutely love that. I love it. So you guys, please welcome today Susan Neal to Authentic Talks. Authentic Talks is all about authentic conversations. This show is all about growth, love, respect, success, mind, body, and spirit. If you're looking to grow and become your authentic self, then this is the podcast for you. And I am your host, Shantae. Welcome to the show. Hi, Susan. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Shantae. Thanks so much for having me.
I'm excited to have you here. Can you please introduce yourself to the audience?
Yes. So I am Susan Neal. I'm an RN. I have a master's in health science. I am a health and wellness coach and the author of 7 healthy living books. And my #1 Amazon bestseller is 7 Steps to Get Off Sugar and Carbohydrates.
Wow. 7 steps to get off carbohydrates and sugars. Do you know how that's really hard to do? I've tried that before. So I would love to find out maybe like 2 things that we could do. And then I guess we can buy the book where we can find out the other 5 steps.
Sure.
Yeah.
The first thing you want to do is to decide. You have to make the decision to improve your health or, to try and eat healthier foods, more raw, natural, whole foods versus processed foods or sugary ones.
When you say raw or whole foods, can you give us some examples of that?
Well, there are 100 different vegetables. So any vegetable, meats. I usually do non-dairy products. I think in the grocery store, it's really good to go along the edges. So where all your produce is, and then go along where the meat section is and the dairy and non-dairy section versus in the middle where you have, the boxes and bags of food. And a lot of it has been refined. A lot of it has had the nutrients stripped from it. It's not in the original form that it came in. I believe in eating God's foods, the foods that He created, the ones that come off of the farm and the ranch. And you can tell when you eat it, it resembles that food. You just have to know which ones have been genetically modified and may have Roundup on them, or they're part of the dirty dozen, which have the most pesticides. And then with those kind of vegetables, you want to buy organic.
Because you'll have less of the pesticides.
Right, right. Like kale and spinach and strawberries, all three of those were tested and they have some of the highest pesticide levels. So you don't want to eat, a pesticide. So you just buy organic. So if you know what the Dirty Dozen and Clean 10 is, like every year, this environmental working group does a test on all the different vegetables in the United States, and they come up with the top dozen vegetables that have the most pesticide. And so those you want to buy organic. Second one is to gain knowledge and a support system. So you need to educate yourself because it's so confusing today. And so you don't want to make it complicated. You don't want to be counting calories or be counting carbs or is it keto or is it low fat? I mean, it's so confusing. So make it simple. Look at your plate. Does it resemble the food that came off of the garden or a farm? If it does, eat it. And if it doesn't, then don't eat it. If it's a processed food that the food manufacturer created for you to purchase more of it, so they add things like sugar or salt, then you want to avoid those types of foods.
That sounds pretty dry. You mentioned the keto. I've heard so much about that. And whenever I go into the stores, I see where they have coffee now and oil and just all of this stuff. Is that some sort of a special diet where you have to buy all these special foods that they have?
Oh, the keto diet?
Oh, okay. I said it wrong. Yeah, keto.
Keto. So keto, what that is you want to eat, in a keto diet, you eat so much protein, and very low carbohydrate and sugar. And when you eat so much protein, it tricks your body. And your body says, oh gosh, I have so much protein. I can get rid of some of this excess fat. I'm gonna get rid of this fat because we are not in a, she's not starving me or anything. And you start to lose weight. And what it is you want to get in, it's very complicated, is that you want to get into ketogenesis. You want to expel ketones from so much protein. And that is a really very valid, good way to lose weight. I've had friends who've lost 20, 35, 50 pounds, but you don't want to stay like that all the time because it's hard on your body to eat so much protein. And so it's better to eat a more well-balanced diet with vegetables.
You mentioned that you were an RN. What motivated you to move into that direction of becoming an RN?
Well, gosh, I became an RN in my early 20s. So I used to work on a kidney transplant floor and I did that for several years. And then I went back and got my MBA, my master's in business administration and my master's in health science. And I worked for industries like Mayo Clinic in Jacksonville and also Blue Cross Blue Shield of Florida. I was a nurse at Shands Hospital in Gainesville, Florida. So I've worked for some pretty large corporations. But what got me into writing my 7 Healthy Living books is because I lost my health. When I was 49, I had 10 medical diagnoses and 2 surgeries. So I lost my health and I really had to fight to get it back. I don't know if you want me to go into that.
Sure, yes, it's very interesting.
So it all started with an abscess tooth. So with this abscess tooth, I didn't know it was abscess. What it was I had a cavity. And I had to have a crown on that tooth. And then I went back to the dentist 3 different times. They took x-rays. They could never figure out that it was abscessed. But every single month for the next like 8 to 9 months, I had something wrong. I started suffering from depression. I had 2 periods a month from 2 uterine polyps, and I had to get that surgically removed 15 months later. I had adrenal fatigue. I had a ovarian cyst. I had a hole in my retina, and they had to do laser surgery for that. They wouldn't let me leave the facility without doing the surgery because that leads to a detached retina, which leads to blindness.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I had so many different things wrong with me. It was visual migraines, low vitamin D, hormonal imbalance. I mean, it went on and on. And after the surgeries and the doctors giving me, hormone cream or vitamin D or this or that, then they found the abscess tooth. Finally figured out what was causing my, body to just go down so bad. So like the tooth dies and you don't know it dies. And so the root of the tooth becomes just like putrid. And I actually had, when I went to the dentist for dental cleaning, and I said, I have a bump above this tooth that, I had cavity with and everything last year. And she's like, oh, a bump's not good. And what it was like a hole was draining all the putrid fluid from the dead tooth into my gastrointestinal tract and in my body.
Oh, wow.
So then I had to go on steroids and antibiotics. And then after that, my bowels changed and it was just not normal. And so I had a colonic irrigation, and that's like a royal enema, because I was like, what's going on here? And the colonic therapist, man, she was so good. She's like, you have a yeast infection. You have an overgrowth of candida in your colon. And I'm like, candida? What's candida? And I'm a nurse. I didn't even know what candida was. Candida is a yeast. Like, women get vaginal yeast infections sometimes after we've taken antibiotics.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what happens is when I took the hormones, not the hormones, when I took the antibiotics and the steroids, it killed all the good probiotics in my gut. And it made this bad guy called Candida grow. Well, Candida loves sugar, refined carbohydrates, chocolate, and red wine.
Wow.
Because I was eating chocolate and red wine every night.
Wow.
And that sucker took over my appetite. And that year I had been gaining weight. And, every night I was binging on the wine and the chocolate. And so having that thing in your gut, that overgrowth, is like a monster taking over your appetite, and you have no idea. I had no idea. And I really do believe that a lot of people have an overgrowth of candida and they have no idea. And so I created a quiz. It's called candiquiz.com, CANDI quiz.com. And so you can go on there and check and see what your symptoms, what you might have for symptoms. Because, there's things for symptoms. It's like depression, fatigue. If you have any kind of a toenail fungus or fingernail fungus, are you craving sweets? Are you craving alcohol? Because most alcoholics have an overgrowth of the candida in their gut.
Wow.
Yeah, mood swings, poor memory. I mean, fatigue. It causes all sorts of things. So you can go in and take this test and see whether you might have it, because I believe there's like 5 root causes for a negative eating habit, for overeating.
Mm-hmm.
So, and one of them is the candida infection. So I wanted to help other people regain their health. So to kill this monster in my gut, I had to go on a strict anti-candida diet for 8 months. So no more chocolate and wine. I had to eat meat and vegetables. I had to stay away from fruits, stay away from sugar, any kind of refined carbohydrate. And I had to take 2 bottles of an anti-candida cleanse to kill. It's like a parasite in there, to kill this guy in my gut.
Mm.
And so I did that, and I got my health back. It was slowly but surely, because I'll tell you, I was like so lethargic and tired, and I just wanted to stay in bed. It was hard to deal with life. So I want other people to know how, to gain the knowledge, to learn how to get their health back. So that's why I've written these books.
Wow, that's very interesting. Anytime I have nuts, it just does something to my body. Another thing is like milk, which we know that's lactose intolerant, but I need to figure out why am I like that with nuts now, with any type of nuts, or whatever. And
Well, if you had happened to have candida, what it does is it causes food allergies. So it sounds like it could be, since you were eating them and they were fine for a long time, it sounds like it could have been developed into a food allergy. So what happens is the candida grows like roots into the lining of your gastrointestinal tract, and it makes like these and so it can contribute to food allergies. The other thing is that contributes to it is if you're gluten sensitive. So, you have to figure out, but something contributed to the food allergy of you not being able to digest the nuts. Now, nuts are hard to digest, and what's recommended is that you sprout them a little bit, like you put them in water for 24 hours and then you eat them, and they're much more easily digested. But if you're having this issue, I wouldn't eat them at all. But I'd maybe go on to candyquiz.com and see how many symptoms you have, to see if possibly candida could have contributed to causing a food allergy.
Mm-hmm. Did you find that you would have like tummy aches a lot?
No, how the candida affected me and such was, it just made me tired and foggy brained and depressed.
Oh.
So it didn't really cause a food allergy, and I stay away from dairy because dairy just totally bloats me. I just get this big belly from the dairy.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm
I
the
eat
same.
yeah, I have to just avoid it. I just have like non-dairy yogurt. And another thing that's really good to eat is sauerkraut or kimchi. Those have a really good probiotic, and it's really good to take a supplement of a probiotic, because you want your gut to be healthy. A lot of your immune system is in your gut. So I recommend taking a probiotic, and then also you can't get all the probiotics from a supplement. So I also recommend, eating like sauerkraut or kimchi. And if you buy a probiotic, I recommend buying one that has 10 different beneficial strains of a probiotic. And then after you finish that bottle, buy a different bottle with different strains of probiotic, because you diversify the good bacteria in your gut.
Mm-hmm.
And that helps to kill down the candida too.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. How would you know if you're gluten sensitive?
I wrote another book. It's called Solving the Gluten Puzzle.
Wow.
And 10% of the population is gluten sensitive, but most people don't recognize it or understand it. So I created another quiz.
Oh.
It's called Gluten Intolerance Quiz.com. So that's gluten intolerance quiz.com. So you won't believe how many symptoms there are with the gluten sensitivity. So, and this is really kind of hard to diagnose because it was not a diagnosis until 2010. So prior to 2010,
You never heard of it.
exactly, yes, it wasn't even a diagnosis.
Yeah. I woke up one day and I'm like, gluten, what? Now I see all different types of gluten-free this and gluten-free that. And I'm meeting a lot of people that say, oh, I I can't tolerate gluten, or it needs to be gluten-free, or they can't eat certain foods that have it in there. And at first I was like, seriously? Is this like just a like a trend, or is this a real thing? And so I discovered that, after being around several people, I had a friend named Mary who was really into explaining those things, and she had a really good understanding for it. And so she got me to understand that gluten sensitivity was real.
Yeah, it is. So gluten is from wheat, barley, and rye. We eat wheat all the time. Hardly ever do we eat barley or rye. So what happened is, like in the 1950s, 1960s, the wheat in the United States was hybridized. It went from 4 feet tall to 2 feet tall. It became drought resistant and prolific. Unfortunately, the gluten molecule became so large from this new type of wheat that it's very difficult for humans to digest.
Mm.
Okay. It's like 100 years ago, the wheat was fine, but they messed up the wheat. And so that is what is causing so much gluten sensitivity. And one of the gluten related disorders is called celiac disease. And celiac disease,
Celiac?
yes.
Oh, I know. I have heard that somewhere before. I think I knew someone that, I think my friend Mary had it, but I can't remember what it is. So I'll let you go ahead and.
It's an autoimmune disease where your body attacks the gluten and your body, the gastrointestinal lining of your GI tract at the same time. Well, guess what? In the past 50 to 60 years, celiac disease has increased by 400%.
Wow.
And that is the same amount of time of when they hybridized the wheat. So they changed the wheat. So let me tell you some symptoms. Okay. Now you could have gastrointestinal symptoms or non-gastrointestinal. So I'm a person who has the non-gastrointestinal, but here's the GI symptoms. Burping, acid reflux. If you have acid reflux, that GERD, then if you quit eating wheat, it almost always goes away. Heartburn, gas, bloating, abdominal pain, constipation. So those are some of the things, diarrhea. Now, some of the non-gastrointestinal symptoms are eczema, rosacea, psoriasis, because you see the body is trying to get rid of that stuff out of your body. And so it's like causing different skin rashes or acne. Could be nosebleeds, lactose intolerance, weight gain,
Wow,
aching.
I might have that.
Yeah, aching, painful joints, anxiety, irritability, moodiness,
Wow.
depression, lack of motivation, fatigue, inflammation, headaches, migraines, foggy brain. I mean, can you see all this? How much it causes?
Wow. That's
Yeah. This is gluten sensitivity.
gluten sensitivity. Okay.
Yes, gluten sensitivity. Of the 10% of the population that has a gluten-related disorder, 1% is celiac disease, 6% is 6 to 8% is the gluten sensitive. So it's a larger portion. And then some people are allergic to wheat.
Well, it's good that they developed a test and different things that they could do for the body so people could become aware. If you
Well,
had not created your quiz, how would people have known? Do they go to the doctor and they just so happen to find out, or?
yeah, if and you see, like I, wasn't taught about this in mainstream in nursing school because it's only became a diagnosis in 2010. So unless you've been educated in the past 10 years or, gone to conferences about it, you may not, know. Like, for example, I took my daughter to a specialist, a pediatric gastrointestinal doctor, and he said he didn't treat gluten sensitivity. And so he'd have to send her back to the allergist. And it's like,
Oh,
well, um, this is a, gastrointestinal disorder. So we went to another doctor, and my daughter had a stool test, and yes, there was antibodies in her stools that were fighting against the gluten. So she was gluten sensitive. And so, yes.
wow. And you were able to, when you do find out that you're gluten sensitive, does that cost more money now because you now have to, because they say it's more expensive, and I've noticed this as well in some cases, to eat healthier than it is to just eat whatever you want.
Well, I think an apple is a lot less expensive than a bag of potato chips. And when you eat the apple, it has so much fiber, you get full, and that fiber balances out the blood sugar. So you don't spike the blood sugar with. Now, if you eat that bag of potato chips, just think of crunching up that bag till it's fine. There's no fiber in it. You want to eat the whole thing to try and fill yourself up, and you just consumed a bunch of calories, and it's more expensive. Vegetables are inexpensive. So I
I'm
think it's less expensive to eat vegetables and meat than it is to eat processed food that the food manufacturer tries to get us hooked on.
And it is very addictive, especially even soda. It has
Yeah.
like, and I used to drink soda. I can't stand it anymore. It tears my body up. Whatever's in it, it just like, it makes me get bloated, and it just doesn't agree with my body anymore.
Right, right. Yeah, soda. I recommend not drinking soda. I mean, just drink water. You know, that's,
Mm-hmm.
our body is, has a lot of water in it, and we need to replenish it. So it's really important that we drink water. So I recommend that you just drink water and then maybe one or two caffeinated beverages a day. No soda.
It puts a lot of weight on you as well.
Oh, yes. And it's empty calories. Just think, I remember yeah, my daughter, I would always have this little rule. It's like, we can't buy anything with over 10 grams of sugar. That's my little rule. So, my kids would be like, oh, can I have this, whatever soda? And I'm like, okay, well, check how many grams of sugar. 36. 36
Wow.
grams of sugar in one bottle. I'm like, you are kidding me.
Wow, that is a lot. Now, you mentioned that you once you discovered that you had these things, you ended up changing your diet.
Yes, yes.
Did you
I
gain a lot of weight when you were
when I was
before?
when I was sick. Yes. So it went all away. And you know what the thing was? Is like wasn't trying to lose weight. I was trying to kill that candida. Well, I took the candida cleanses and I went on this anti-candida diet, and it was just an after effect. You eat whole foods, you eat vegetables and meat, and that excess weight just drops off, and it just naturally happens. It's not like you're starving yourself, because you don't want to starve yourself. You want to eat a big, you want to get full and satisfied. So eat, your sweet potato and your salad and your steak, and be satisfied. Don't try and starve yourself.
Mm-hmm. I love potatoes.
Potatoes are great.
Yes, I love
Yeah.
the yellow ones. I'm trying to implement the sweet potato in my life more because I
Yeah.
hear that it's healthier.
You know what? What's a really cool thing to do with a sweet potato is slice it like a piece of bread. So you have like little thin slices, and
Mm-hmm.
then put it in your toaster oven and, toast it for like 10 minutes, and it ends up being so delicious. It's sweet potato toast.
Oh, I'm gonna have to try that.
Yeah, it's really delicious.
Oh,
Yes.
it sounds like it would be delicious.
Yeah. And I like those yellow Yukon potatoes with like sauteed in the morning with a Vidalia onion. So that's really, really great. And in the
Mm-hmm.
back of my books, I have the back of 7 Steps to Get Off Sugar and Carbohydrates. I have 50 recipes. And
Oh,
in the back of Solving the Gluten Puzzle, I have another 50 recipes.
oh, that's really nice. So that would be 100 recipes between the two books.
Yes,
And how many books total do you have? You said it's 7 books total?
yes,
Can we take it from the top and go through the names of each one?
sure. So my bestseller is 7 Steps to Get Off Sugar and Carbohydrates. And then I found I found readers needed to go deeper if they had an emotional connection with food. And so I wrote the second book in that series called Christian Study Guide for 7 Steps to Get Off Sugar and Carbohydrates. And that goes deep into what emotional connection you might have and healing from that. I really believe in getting to the root cause of an issue and not treating the symptoms, but the root cause. Like when I got rid of the candida, I got my normal appetite back, and I didn't crave chocolate and wine every night.
Mm-hmm.
The third one in the Healthy Living series is Healthy Living Journal. Track your healthy eating and living habits for improved health and well-being. So this is great if you'd like to track things, or if you're having, a digestive issue and you can't figure out what's causing it. This book helps you keep track, and you'll figure out, okay, it's the nuts, or it's the dairy, or whatever culprit it may be. So this one gets you really motivated. So those are the 3 in that series. And then all 3 of them together, I put them in one book. It's called Healthy Living Series, 3 books in one. And that you get 3 books for the price of 2 in that big bound book, Solving the Gluten Puzzle. And I've also written 2 books on yoga.
Oh.
One of them is called Yoga for Beginners, and it's by Susan Neal, Neal. And the other one is called Scripture Yoga. So I have Bible verses to meditate on and recite when you're doing yoga postures.
Wow, that's really awesome. And if someone wanted to buy these books, where can they find them?
Some of them are on Walmart.com, Barnes & Noble, and Amazon.com. Or they can go to my website, Susan U. Neal, Neal.com. Susan U, like the letter U, Neal, Neal.com, and just click on my shops. And
Wow.
I also just created a brand new course, and it's called 7 Steps to Improve Your Health and Optimal Weight. So it's also available on my website.
Susan, thank you so much for coming on Authentic Talks and for sharing your knowledge with all of the listeners as well as with myself. And I appreciate you sending me a copy of your book. I thought the book was really amazing, and the book is called The 7 Steps to Get Off Sugar and Carbohydrates. I love the fact that there are assessments, you guys, that you're able to take online to find out if you have any of these certain symptoms, and then you can kind of go through self-diagnoses, and then that can eventually get you to making that appointment with your doctor's office. And Susan is an RN who's been practicing in this field of wanting to help people with health and wellness for quite some time. And they say sometimes that out of things that happen to us personally, you know, where it really hurts, or like illnesses and different things like that, there's always something else that is born. And it looks like that's exactly what happened in Susan's case. Out of illness that she had that started out with her tooth, she was able to move forward and create an entire program, write books, and just understand about a brand new illness that most of us have never heard of, and bringing awareness and attention to this so that now other people who may be tuning in that may have had something similar, or if it happens in the future, or if you know someone, you're able to now go, aha, it could be, or maybe it is. So yeah, I loved learning and just understanding all of these different things. Susan, thank you so much for what you do, ma'am. We do appreciate you very much. Again, you guys, all of the information for Susan is located in the show notes. The quiz is at candyquiz.com, and check out Susan's website at susanunil.com. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm Shantae with Authentic Talks.